Jory, I loved your tips about interviewing last week. That was really awesome, and I think that's going to be really helpful if I ever have to do interviews, and helpful for anyone else watching this. So since I concentrated a lot on my schoolwork this week, I didn't do much reading or writing. I did a little bit of work on my internship, but not kind of as much as I probably should have. But I will be making that up in the next couple weeks because I am just about finished my schoolwork. I have a few more things to read and one thing to write, and then I'll be done. So once I'm finished with school, I really want to start digging into editing through my novel and really finishing that if I can by the end of the summer. I also want to work on freelance writing, and I want to see if I can enter any of my already written pieces in contests, and maybe write a few more things so I'll have more stuff to submit in the future. On top of that, I'm also going to try and do Camp NaNoWriMo this July, where I will be writing about 50,000 more words of my Book 2 novel. That evens out to about 1,667 words a day, so I hope I can do that every day, and if not, that's okay too, but at least I'll be writing. So hopefully with the end of school, I will also free up some time to do my own personal reading, which I really haven't been able to do because I've been so busy reading all of the books for my class. And that includes things like Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, which I finally finished, and it was really good and definitely worth reading. So because I finished that, I finally had time to start reading the next book on my list, which is Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. This is written by the same person who wrote the Divergent series, so you probably know the name Veronica Roth pretty well. I ended up buying this book and its sequel, The Fates Divide, in a store one day when I was with Megan, and we saw a copy of The Fates Divide with a signature from Veronica Roth in it, and I really wanted that signed edition, but I didn't own the first book yet, so I bought them both. So now that I own them, I definitely have to read them because Megan did say the first book was great, so I'm excited to dig in. So since I haven't done much reading or editing this week to talk about, I decided I would talk more about the books that I want to read this summer for fun. On my Goodreads page right now, I have a set goal to read 25 books this year, but that doesn't include textbooks, so it's a little harder to get to. Right now, I've read 8 books and it's mid-June, so I still have some time to catch up. So on top of Carve the Mark and The Fates Divide, I really want to read the book Royals by Rachel Hawkins. Rachel Hawkins is an author that I've read before. She wrote the book series Rebel Belle, which I read the first 2 books and I really enjoyed, but I have since forgotten them, and so it's going to be really hard to finish that series. So I decided instead to try and read Royals, which is a new book that came out pretty recently and sounds really up my alley. Another book on my list is the book Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, which you just mentioned in your last video. I also own this book. I got to go see John and Hank in tour in Indianapolis, and that was really fun, and we got a free copy of the book. So I've had this book for a couple months, and I can't believe I haven't read it yet. I really know I like John's writing, and I don't have it here to show you because it's packed away somewhere in my closet, and I haven't had the opportunity to unpack it yet, but I really do want to get to it this summer. The next book I want to read is Gone Rogue, which is a graphic novel by Marissa Meyer set in the world of the Luna Chronicles. I'm a big fan of the Luna Chronicles, which I know you know, I've talked about them a lot before, and I really love Marissa Meyer's style of writing and her world building. I've already read the first graphic novel in this series, called Wires and Nerves, but I haven't been able to get the second book yet, so hopefully sometime this summer I'll be able to get a hold of it and finally read it. The next book I want to read is called Children of Blood and Bone. This book is by Tommy Adeyemi. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, but it's gotten a lot of buzz recently in the book world. Everyone's been saying really great things about it, and I don't want to miss out on that excitement, so I really want to read this book because I've heard it's really awesome. The next books I want to read are This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet by V.E. Schwab, one of my absolute favorite authors, whom I actually just discovered fairly recently. In the past few months, I've read the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab, the same author, and they were one of my absolute favorite reads of this year by far. They're so good, and if you haven't read them already, check them out. They're amazing. My pitch for these books is London, a great coat, and Parallel Worlds. So if that at all sounds interesting to you, check these books out. V.E. Schwab also wrote the book Vicious, which I read a few weeks ago, and I kind of sped through it and it was really good, but this one doesn't have the second book out quite yet, so I haven't been able to read any more of this series, but I will definitely be picking up book 2, Vengeance, when it comes out in the fall. So since I loved all of those books so much, I do really want to pick up This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet. Finally, another book series that I really want to read is another duology. The first book is called Six of Crows, and the second is called Crooked Kingdom, and they're both by Leigh Bardugo. I actually own and have started Six of Crows before, but I haven't gotten very far, and I want to sit down and give it a fair chance because I've heard it's a really great series, and one of my friends has been really pushing it and saying that she wants me to read it so she could talk about it with me. So I want to read it for you, Megan. That's all I have for this week. To everyone else watching, make sure you go subscribe to Jory's channel so you can follow our continuing adventures as we talk back and forth about reading and writing and similar things in the publishing world that we're doing this summer. Hope you have a good week. Bye, Jory!